Hi everyone, welcome back to another video for Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst. So today's video we're going to continue the side stories of episode 1. Now we're not actually going to go chronologically here, we are actually going to change it around a bit because in the side story there is 2 different paths you can go down which get you different things depending on which option you want to choose. So if you want to go for the Soul Eater, then you need to do what's called the Karik side quest, also known as the Bernie side quest. So that requires you to do specific things in specific quests. There is another quest option you can do as well, which is the Suicide story. In this playthrough, I'm going to do the Suicide story. If you want to see how to get the Soul Eater, I do have a video on my channel already that goes through the other storyline. So I'm going to do the second storyline for this one. Because of that, I can't do Waterfall Tears yet. I need to first do one of the Mines quests. So Waterfall Tears is part of the side quest that I need to do, but with it not being the first quest that I need to do, there is another one I need to do first, which is one of these Mines quests. But first what we're going to do is we're going to do this one, Soul of a Blacksmith, because this isn't connected to it. So the client is Oswald, and it says, I want to make a new weapon using unknown materials on Ragol. Are you a hunter from the Hunters Guild? I'm Oswald, a blacksmith. Nice to meet you. I think it'll be an easy job for you too. It's simple. Go to Ragol to collect some raw weapon material. The weapon made by the materials on Ragol will be yours. Good deal? I'm just interested in the creation process using unknown materials. Now, I want you to collect 3 different materials on Ragol. Take this memo with you. That is a list of what I want. Oh, one more thing. About the 3rd one, I'm not sure that kind of material exists there. So it's up to you. Just bring back what you think is good. Find something good to make a strong weapon, okay? Here's the list. Read it carefully. Don't disappoint me, okay? Got the material memo. So we basically need to collect some different items on Ragol to make a weapon. Let me apologise for my husband asking for such a big favour. His ambition is to be better than the Big 3 blacksmiths. Big 3 is a rewarded name for famous talented blacksmiths. Good luck anywhere. Now there is actually some lore for this, so the Big 3 blacksmiths are actually mentioned in some PSO weapons. So there are a few blacksmiths that I mentioned. There is, I think there's one called June, one called, I believe it's Tengai, and I think there's another one called Kikoku, and there is one called Dosetsu. And if you're thinking any of those sound familiar, it's probably because you've got some of the katana weapons in the game. So if you go to the any of the Agito weapons, you can see in the description it says made by Dosetsu, made by Kikoku, made by June, made by Tengai. It also applies to Sanga, Yasha, Kamui. So those are the blacksmiths that she's talking about. They are like the legendary blacksmiths. So there is actually some lore there. So with that, we need to go and find some materials. Now we have an option of going to forest or caves. So what we'll do is we'll check our quest board first. So we need Miwontite, which says it's often found in the river. And that's obviously going to be in forest because there's a river in forest. Dragon Fang, grown in dragon's jaws, so we clearly need to fight the dragon. And Mineral, use your best judgment, so this is the one he was mentioning. Now the way this quest works is, for the mineral there are a few different colour minerals you can go for, and the item you get at the end depends on what mineral you went for. Another thing to note is that if you do this quest in ultimate difficulty, you want to go for the final mineral because that will actually give you a special weapon as a reward. So if you choose a melee weapon, you will get a God Hand. If you choose a gun, you'll get a suppressed gun. And if you choose a tech weapon, you'll get a technical crozier. But you'll only get that if you go for the, I think it's for the blue mineral, which is the furthest one. So first of all, let's go and get the Miwontite first. So we know that the Moonlight is often found in rivers. So there clearly wasn't any there, so we just need to look for any ruined forest that has a river, basically. Now, I'm doing this on very hard. This is just because it's the only difficulty I've got the quest left on. So basically, all we need to do so far is just continue through forest until we find any ruin that has water, and then see if there's any of that Moonlight in the water. So just a little one, this quest does take a little while normally. It is one of the longer quests because, particularly if you want to go for the blue mineral, it does involve going through all the way through caves more or less. I believe there are 3 different colour minerals you can go for, one of which is in cave 1, one's in cave 2 and one's in cave 3. So it depends what you want to do. If you just want to clear the quest quickly, you can just go to cave 1. But if you want the best possible weapon, then you want to go to cave 3. I'll probably go to cave 3 for this just to show you where it is. But as I'm doing this in very hard, I won't get a special weapon. So we do have 2 ways we can go here. I know there is some water in here. It looks like we do have something here. Yep, so we've got a Moonlight. So that is that done. So the only other thing we needed from Forest was a Dragon Fang. Which, it may not surprise you, is from the dragon. So we can see the portals up there, so... Okay, so we get to Forest 2. Now, we know again that the only thing we need from Forest is the Dragon Fang, so we can more or less just run straight to the boss. So I'll probably just cut straight to once we get to the dragon. Okay, so we've worked all the way through Forest 2 now, so now we just need to defeat the dragon to get that Dragon's Fang. Okay, we'll finish that one in style. So we defeat the dragon and we get a Dragon Fang. We also got a Yamato as well. So that's 2 out of 3 of the items collected. So now we can go back down to caves, and now all we need to do is find that mineral. And again, there are 3 different options. There's one in cave 1, one in cave 2, and one in cave 3. So just choose whichever mineral you want to. But the item you get at the end will depend on which mineral you get. Alright, I've had a play with the Dark Floor now. Should probably take it more seriously now. So you can see there is a rock with loads of minerals there. So that is where you can get your first mineral from. Obviously you just need to find your way around. Okay, so yep, so this is where you get your first mineral. So if you just want to get the quest cleared quickly, that is the one you'd probably choose. But if you want the best items, then you need to go a little bit further. So if you're ignoring that one, then all you can do is just keep on clearing cave 1, get into cave 2. So we'll pick this back up in cave 2. Okay, so we're now in cave 2. So in cave 1, the mineral you could get there was the red mineral. So cave 2 gives you the green mineral. And then cave 3 is the blue mineral. Blue is the one you want if you want the best items. Now, thankfully, most of these minerals are actually really easy to find. You normally don't need to go very far into each area to find them. I should point out as well that a lot of these quests do have maps available on sites like PSO World. Although they are really, really old sites, a lot of the maps are still on there, so it does make the quest a lot easier. Another thing about this quest in particular is it does seem to have quite a high enemy count. So I guess like from a lore perspective, there isn't a massive amount to go on in this quest, but I guess it gives us an insight into how weapons are actually produced. So we are obviously still relying on Ragol for materials on the surface to make weapons. Now we know that from doing the main story, we know that a lot of the technology in Phantasy Star, and Phantasy Star Online anyway, is tied to the D factor. So things like mags in particular are all tied to the D factor. Whether there's any correlation with weapons, I don't think there is necessarily, but it's clear that we are still relying on the resources of the planet to actually get the weapons. So once you get to the waterfall room in Cave 2, which seems to be the focal point for a lot of quests in caves, we do have another mineral here. So this is the green mineral. So again, if you want sort of the mid-tier stuff, this is where you go to. But again, if you want to get the best stuff in the quest, you just ignore those. You may be able to pick them up as well. As long as you've got one mineral, that's all that really matters for this quest. So if you're not wanting to get the green mineral, just keep pushing through Cave 2 until you get to Cave 3. So we'll pick it up again in Cave 3. Okay, so now we're in Cave 3. So again, we just need to push a little bit into Cave 3 to find the blue mineral. And then once we've got the blue mineral, we can go straight back to Pioneer 2 and report back to the Blacksmith. So once you get to this room, this is actually the room that has the minerals in it, but when you're running, you probably won't notice them straight away. But you can see in this room there is blue crystals poking out the walls. Basically just turn your camera this way. So they are hidden off to the side here. So we go over here and we get a blue mineral. And with that now we can just open a telepipe back to Pioneer. So it is quite a long quest this, so just be aware of that when you do it. Did you find all the materials on the list? Oh, that's wonderful. He'll be excited when he sees them. He sometimes acts just like a kid. Yes, you're finally back. I think you found a very special material, very special mineral. So you can choose which type of weapon you want here, so you can go for a blade, a gun or a staff, and this correlates with what item you get. So again, just as a reminder, in ultimate difficulty, if you get the blue mineral, so you have to be in ultimate and it has to be the blue mineral. If you go for the blade, you will get a god hand. If you go for the gun, you'll get a suppressed gun. And if you go for the staff, you will get a technical crozier. So in this, it doesn't matter because I'm in very hard anyway. So I will take a blade, sure. Okay, just wait a few minutes. Hey, I'm back. Look, this was made with the materials that you found on Ragol. This is yours. I hope it helps you. And we got a freeze birdies. Again, that's because we're in very hard. But that would have been a god hand in ultimate. The guild will pay your reward. Sorry, I know it's not much Mazetta. That quality material you brought back really excited me. Thank you. So, and that is Soul of a Blacksmith. Now, for the next quest, we have to mix it up a little bit. So, I've already mentioned that Waterfall Teas is part of a subplot that we're going to do for this. So, I can't do that quest yet. Similarly, Knowing One's Heart is also part of the same subplot, so I can't do that one. Retired Hunter we can come back to. So the one we want to do now is Dr. Osto's research. And this is the quest that triggers the subplots, so this is a very, very important quest. So the client is 3 scientists, and it says, we want to see Dr. Osto's research memo. Dr. Osto is a renowned doctor who was aboard Pioneer 1. Now again, if you've watched the lore playthrough, particularly the episode 2 lore playthrough, you'll know that Dr. Osto was instrumental in what happened in episode 2, so he's a very, very important character. Have you read the latest research notes about Rargol? These strange mechanical enemies appeared in No Man's Mines. Interestingly, that's the first time you ever hear it called No Man's Mines. We're assuming that Pioneer 1 did some studies in there. After that explosion, the area unexpectedly started working again. So, here's your job. Go and find Dr. Osto's documents. If our assumption is correct, he must have left his research data. Use this disk when you find his computer. We've got a security disk. You can unlock the security system with it. Access his data and bring it back to us. Good luck. What? All data regarding Dr. Osto was deleted from Pioneer 2? What was he doing on Rargol? Everything is a mystery. So very interesting that all the data about Dr. Osto is deleted from Pioneer 2. Almost as if they knew something was going on with him. Dr. Osto was renowned for his work in electricity and genetics. He and Dr. Montague are two of the greatest scientists in the world, so Dr. Montague obviously is another very important character in PSO. Dr. Osto was sent to Rargol by the Council. So we obviously need to go and find his research notes. We do have this security disk as well, which just says disk needed to access secure areas. So speaking of Dr. Montague, it's a real pain guarding Dr. Montague. He's a doctor, but he's still very young. So clearly he's being, he says he's guarding Montague, but I kind of see it as more that the government keeping an eye on what he's doing. Where is Eleanor? I haven't finished her maintenance yet. It seems that her emotional range is just a wee bit too wide. I want to try a few more patterns for her. So in this quest, you can actually use Dr. Montague to convert body parts into gear. Again, I do have a guide on my channel how to do that. So this is one of the first quests that we've done in mines. Again, there is a quest prior to this that involves mines, but we can't do that one yet because of the subplot that we're wanting to do. So for now, all we need to do is just push through mines. And in here we run into a Raymar. Sorry. I was ordered to kill anybody who came over here. It's not really a good day for him. PSO NPC combat is incredibly janky. You'll die if you get too involved. So he basically just unlocks the door for you. So when you go in here, you'll run into Sue. Now this, I mentioned this in the Soul Eater video as well, but Sue is an absolutely crucial NPC in this quest. So depending on what you answer her here, depends on what side quest you go down. So essentially what she'll do is she'll ask you if she can get your name, and your answer that depends on a lot of things. Ah, you frightened me. Are you a hunter from Pioneer 2? Are you going to the mine? Me? Well, I'm going there as well. Hey, we need to cooperate, don't we? Right. Cooperation. Just until we finish investigating the mines. A great idea, right? It'll be easier for both of us. Let's go. So Sue joined your party here. So there's nothing to worry about yet. Just keep an eye on anything she might ask you. So for now, we're just happy to have her in the party. Is this the first time you've been here? It's my first time. Ah, yes. I came here because I took a quest. Same as you. So she's been obviously very obtuse. If you know anything about Sue, you know that she probably hasn't taken a quest, and there's probably another reason she's here. You know, again, if you've done any of the main story, you probably know, particularly from episode 4, from the main story in that, you probably know that she's a member of an organisation called Black Paper, which is kind of a shady underground group. And Kirik is also a member of the same squad as well. So for now, again, there's nothing really to worry about. All you need to do is just keep advancing through mines. And every now and again, Sue will have a conversation with you. A VISC235W, great. Won't open? Is the mechanism broken? Let me take care of it. See? I have the knack. And you thought Bernie was the only one with the knack. So I do wonder if, with her saying about her having the knack, I wonder if that's a little inference that she knows Bernie. Because that kind of language is really only something that Bernie ever says. So it's interesting that Sue says it as well. Maybe that's a little hint that she knows Bernie. I'm glad I saw you. I was feeling helpless. I lost sight of my friend. It was so lonely here. I thought I'd never see anyone again. By the way, where are you going? I see. It's a secret. Okay, I won't ask you. So she's clearly trying to sort of pry a little bit and try and figure out what you're doing in mines. I guess she would know as well that you've obviously taken care of that Raymar earlier in the quest, who is another member of Black Paper. So she knows that you've had to go past him to get to her. So she's probably very curious about why you're in mines. So interestingly, we get this room in this quest, which is very different to anything that's in any other quest in mines. There's actually some unique assets that only seem to be used really in this quest. I guess this is meant to be sort of implying that some experiments were going on here. Now at the moment we can't do anything really here. There's an item, a development note. Osto High Lab. Biotechnology R&D lead researcher. So we now know that this is Osto's lab. So in here we have another NPC. Sue. So it's clear that he obviously knows Sue, and it would not surprise you to know that this guy is also a member of Black Paper. He's probably just very confused as to why Sue is with another random person. She also said earlier that she'd lost sight of her friend, so it could be that that's her friend that she was mentioning. Okay, so back in Osto's lab, but we can actually go through this way now. So we found the computer. Main computer. Access denied. Subcomputer. Accessed. Searching Osto Heil. Hit 1 item. Code required. So we'll use the security disk that we got from the scientists at the start. Accepted. Starting transfer. Facility data. Beta 772 process. Now that, if you're just going through the story for the first time, Beta 772 won't make much sense to you. But you'll learn later on that Beta 772 is the development code for Duralur. Excavation notes. This is probably referring to the excavation going to the ruins. Beta 772 overrun data. So that probably relates to Beta 772 escaping. Data transfer done. Wow, you're very good with computers. That's surprising. Are you searching for Dr. Osto's report? Me too. I came down here to get his information. Are you... No, nothing. Anyway, we have the same objective. Let's help each other. Let me copy that data. Is that a problem? So Sue gets her own copy for black paper. Can't do anything else with the computers. And this one seems to be broken. So when you try leaving, this is the important part. Okay. My job is done, but I want to see if I can find any other records. And I have to find my friend. It's time to say goodbye. See you. I don't know your name. Will you tell me? So this is the crucial option for the side story. So if you want to get the Soul Eater, you have to say no, sorry. If you tell her your name, you will not be able to get the Soul Eater on that difficulty, and you'd have to do the whole thing again on a different difficulty or a different character. For this playthrough, I want to say sure because I already have a guide showing how to get the Soul Eater on my channel. So for this, I wanted to do the other route, which is the Sue route. So yes, I am going to tell her her name and my name. But your decision here basically determines whether you go down the Sue route, which will allow you to get things like the Raggle Ring, or whether you want to get the Soul Eater, in which case you need to not tell her your name. So just remember, if you want the Raggle Ring, tell her your name. If you want the Soul Eater, say no. So I'm going to tell her my name. Sure. Take her. My name's Sue. It was fun working with you. See you later. So Sue disappears. And now we can go back to Pioneer 2. So that has now set us on the Sue subplot. So we'll talk to all the scientists. I can't believe this. You say you saw strange men in the mines? What can we extract from this data? Anyway, it's great to know that you found his data. We'll study it. Excellent. Are they Dr. Osto's files? Perhaps we can figure out what happened on Raggle by examining them. Thank you very much. Visit the guild counter to receive your Mazetta. And that is the end of Dr. Osto's research, so it's quite an important quest because it's obviously referring to Dr. Osto, who's an instrumental character, particularly in episode 2, but he's also responsible for a lot of the things that happen in episode 1 as well. It also introduces, I think that's your first introduction to Sue, and by extension, Black Paper, unless you want to count Kirik in battle training. So it is quite an important quest in terms of setting up some of the characters and setting in place some of the events that happened in the main story. So a very, very important quest. But yeah, just remember that if you are going through it for the first time, decide what subplot you want to go down. So if you want that soul later, just make sure that you don't tell Sue your name. And if you want the Ragdoll ring, or if you just want to do Sue's subplot, then tell your name. So with that, we'll end that episode there. We'll continue the quests in the next episode, and we will be able to go back and do some of the previous ones that we've missed. It's just that for these subplots, you have to start with Dr. Osto's research to initiate the subplot. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, or joining as a member on YouTube. You can also follow or sub over on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky at Section Skylight. And I also have a Discord you can join, which will be a link to in the description as well. Members on YouTube also get a 1 week lead time on the week videos. So the videos that I launch on Tuesdays, there is a 1 week sort of advance for YouTube members. The weekend videos will always be available to everyone at the same time. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.